The Washington Wizards agreeing to send that man, Russell Westbrook, to the Lakers. They gave up a lot, or the Lakers gave up a lot, I should say, to get him. The 22nd pick in last night's draft, plus Kyle Kuzma, plus Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, plus Montrezl Harrell. All of this according to our Adrian Wojnarowski, who's in with us all morning long. According to Caesars, the Lakers' odds to win the title didn't change. They're still 4-1 behind the other big super team, and that's Brooklyn. Next closest odds in the West, you see there Golden State at 10-1. LeBron, of course, has led a team to the finals in 9 of the past 11 seasons and won 4 championships. Stephen A. Smith is on his way in studio to break this down along with this fella, Kendrick Perkins, who is here. And once again, there really is only one question. The Lakers are never a team that you think, well, can they get better? Can they make a deep playoff run? It is as simple as this. Can LeBron, Anthony Davis, and Russell Westbrook coexist well enough to win a championship?
Absolutely. Look, Greeny, you can't put 3 Hall of Famers on the team and say, oh, is it questions, can they shoot or can they do this? They're going to get it done. And I go back to the Miami Heat days when LeBron James was playing alongside Dwayne Wade. Everybody was talking about, oh, do they complement each other well? Well, guess what? They found a way to get it done by going to the low post. Both of these guys, Russell Westbrook and LeBron James, are great slashing off the ball. And then you add Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis, healthy, is still the best big in the game today. Russell Westbrook has not had a chance in his entire career, although he's played with me, but playing with a big like Anthony Davis. And when you make this trade and Russell Westbrook now goes to the Lakers, they have pressure on them, Greeny. They have pressure like a man and woman going on a blind date. Okay?
It's a good analogy, one of your beloved analogies. And with that, we are delighted to bring in the one, the only Stephen A. Smith. Who was
What's going on, y'all?
Back from his vacation. It's such a pleasure to see you, as always.
Good to see you, my brother.
Let's dive right into it, because there's really only one question, as I said, with the Lakers. It's not about can they make a deep playoff run in L.A.? Can they win a championship or not? These 3 guys, yes or no?
Well, they can win a championship. I'm not going to pick them as my favorite. It's still going to be the Brooklyn Nets. A healthy Brooklyn Nets team, I think, is incredibly formidable, and that would definitely they would definitely receive my edge. But I also think it's going to be interesting because it's something I'm going to elaborate more extensively on First Take about. I don't believe this season that Russell Westbrook will have ever faced more pressure than he's going to face this year. And I'm going to elaborate on that far more extensively, but considering where he's been, what he's been through, and what life has been like without the services of Kevin Durant as his teammate. Now to be in this position right here with LeBron James and Anthony Davis as your teammates, Russell Westbrook is going to be under immense pressure. Now, he don't give a damn. Kendrick Perkins will speak to that. He could care less. You understand what I'm saying? Don't think it's going to phase him. You understand? It's not going to phase him. He's going to go out there. He's going to go out there and do what he does. He's going to play the way he wants to play. But from the outside world, I'm saying the pressure is going to descend upon him.
And you played with him in Oklahoma City. The one thing he doesn't have on his resume is a championship. How will that pressure affect a 32-year-old Russell Westbrook?
Well, you know, the thing about Russ is that he don't give a damn, right? And that's a good thing in a way because, like I said, he's back in his hometown, so you know he's going to play with extra pride. And again, Greeny and Stephen A., he hasn't played with a big like Anthony Davis. Like a pick and roll with Russell Westbrook and Anthony Davis is dangerous for the NBA, especially if Anthony Davis decides to embrace playing the center position, being that role guy, that lob threat at the basket. Because I strongly believe that LeBron James, he's willing to take a back seat and be that third option type guy.
I think we say that a lot about LeBron James, and I don't believe that. I don't believe that. And the reason why I don't believe that is because it's not about scoring. LeBron James doesn't care if somebody scores more than him. That's not what I'm trying to imply. But he's one of those guys who truly, truly believes, validly I might add, that he's the best decision maker on the floor. You don't find a situation where LeBron James is on the court and he thinks somebody makes better decisions and is a better exposer of mismatches than him. And because he feels that way, he'll say all the right things. And I'm not saying he's lying. He genuinely means it until he gets on the court and purviews the landscape and looks at what he's playing with and who he's playing against. And he's like, Yeah, I need to be the one to make this call. That's what I get from LeBron James.
Well, let me challenge you on this one, Stephen A. Go back and look at when him and Rondo played together when they won it. We saw a lot of times LeBron would give the ball to Rondo and play off the ball a lot. And he trusted Rondo because Rondo is one of the best floor generals to ever play the game.
Right.
So when you look at Russell Westbrook, I think we don't give him enough credit for his decision making. We're talking about a guy who led the league in assists last year, and he had a lot of G League players around him. And now you add a LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and they're going to find shooters along with a guy like Tatum Horton-Tucker. He's going to flourish well. He's going to lead the league in assists again.
When you're an astute basketball mind, Greeny, like my man Kendrick Perkins is, you can ultimately become a little bit slick, and you got to know what the hell you're talking about to pick it up, to catch him. Because Kendrick Perkins knows what I'm about to say. Yes, LeBron deferred to Rondo, because with Rondo, you know you're going to get the ball back. You see the difference? Because Rondo ain't trying to shoot. You understand? Yeah. Rondo is literally looking to pass. So somebody like that is very easy for LeBron to defer to in terms of his decision making, because Rondo is brilliant. He's a basketball savant and what have you. But also he's a basketball savant who's not looking to shoot. He's absolutely looking to defer first, second, and third option before he even thinks about shooting in most situations. That's not Russell Westbrook. And Russell Westbrook, here's the thing that I think needs to be said in a positive way about Russell Westbrook. He's not selfish. The fact that people talk about him like he's selfish. No, that's not him. He's dogged. He has a strong belief on himself. He ain't scared of a soul. You understand what I'm saying? This brother's a rough rider. Make no mistake about it. But he's also somebody that has a profound belief in himself. And if he's not making the shot, he wants to be a facilitator of those shots. And what I'm saying is that's the difference between him and Rondo. Russell Westbrook will jack up shots. He doesn't need to be jacking up. Rondo won't do that. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.